like Clark, I can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop. No popcorn, I pop pistols, reaming my body.
Boruto episode 181. Alright guys, this episode was exactly what we thought it was and even more. First things first, I do want to talk about the opening. The opening itself was absolutely insane. I made like a first impressions reaction to it on my second channel, so you guys can check that out over there. I'll probably make a separate video talking about what I think about it and exactly what I think was the interesting parts of the opening, probably later today or possibly even tomorrow. This episode right here was absolutely fire. It was the adaptation of chapter 16 of the Boruto manga, what we all expected. Now coming into the episode, the first thing that we did see was the Kata organization have the meeting, and they were all in one specific place. Now it was fine and it was fire just because of the sheer fact that we got to see majority of the Kata organization in the same place at the same time. Of course it wasn't all of them, but we got to see majority of them. Now the Kata organization music, I talked about the last time that we did hear it, and we talked about the last time that we did see the Kata organization. The last time I thought it would grow on me, and when I heard it this episode, I was absolutely hyped. It's definitely growing on me. I'm pretty sure it's growing on a lot of you guys as well. The way the Kata organization were actually talking amongst each other, it was funny. It was funny. Code seems like he's the jokester. Of course, Deepa, we automatically understand that he's most likely the jokester, and Jigen actually said that Deepa made him laugh. I'll talk about Deepa a little bit later in this video, but it just seems like they have a very good dynamic. Now, of course, we understand that the Kata organization isn't 100% looking towards the exact same goal, because Victor himself was looking out for his own personal agenda, and of course that got him destroyed later on in this episode. Now it seems that they actually did lose the vessel. One of the things that I was personally wondering is, were they going to actually show Kawaki actually escape the quote-unquote blimp? I didn't necessarily expect that to happen, but I was definitely wondering if they'd actually show that, just because of the sheer fact that of course it's the anime and they're filling in a lot of the blanks. Now I talk about the overall designs of the characters. Matter of fact, let's just talk about Kashin Koji, because I think all the other Kata members, they had a fairly good design. Bora was good, Delta, of course, she was good, Jigen was good, Cole was interesting, Victor was Victor, etc. But Kashin Koji, I feel like Kashin Koji's design didn't necessarily look the best. Now I'm not necessarily saying that I'm worried or anything like that. I'm pretty sure Kashin Koji's design is going to look a lot better, especially with other animators and other artists basically penning other episodes of the Boruto anime. So of course it's the same thing that we did see when we first seen Delta's design, when we first seen Jigen's design, when we first seen Kawaki's design. They're going to look different, varied episode from episode and frame from frame. So of course I'm not going to be too worried about Kashin Koji's design. Of course, Kashin Koji being a very important character, people automatically want him to look absolutely good. But I think more importantly over everything, when Kashin Koji takes off his mask, that scene right there has to be animated to perfection. To absolute perfection. But as I said, in the overall design of Kashin Koji as of right now, I'm not worried at all. Now after the meeting scene, Kashin Koji fought against Victor. Now one of the things that we didn't necessarily understand when we did actually read this in the Boruto manga was Kashin Koji acting off of his own volition, or did Jigen actually order Kashin Koji to destroy Victor? Now it seems that Jigen actually did order the hit of Victor. Now Kashin Koji in himself being an assassin, that's basically what he does. He did what he did. Now Victor is a very adept ninja. Of course in terms of the other Kata organization members, and of course in terms of Naruto and Sasuke, Victor is absolute fodder. But for Victor, an adept ninja, of course possibly even Kage level or low Kage level tier, for him to not even notice Kashin Koji was sneaking up on him, that right there is absolutely insane in itself. That just shows you how good Kashin Koji is at his job of assassinating. And it was absolutely hilarious seeing Victor talk all that stuff about Kashin Koji, and Kashin Koji just pulls up like, yeah, what were you saying? And it seemed like Victor was having a complete meltdown. He was melting down so much he couldn't even dodge or deflect a kunai. Like literally just a singular kunai just absolutely destroyed Victor. And of course we've seen something very interesting from Kashin Koji, which was the indistinguishable flames. I wanted to see if it was going to be a little bit different from what we did see in the Boruto manga, because in the Boruto manga it seemed like regular flames, and of course in the Boruto anime that's what it seemed like as well. Now we've seen something like this, of course, is basically famous right now from Sasuke and the Uchiha clan. Of course Itachi used it as well, which was the Amaterasu. It seems like these flames right here basically act similar to the Amaterasu, where it doesn't necessarily extinguish unless the person is actually burnt to a crisp. It seems like we know from this particular situation right here, that was it for Victor. Victor is completely done. Now after that scene, it was very interesting seeing that Deepa was actually alive. This is something a lot of people kind of thought before was actually possible. They basically made it seem like Victor was dead. Now I personally said, and a bunch of other people basically said, that no way, no how Deepa was actually dead. Deepa's just way too good to die from something like that. A Rasengan plus some boulders falling on top of him. Of course, a regular person they'd be completely finished. But for Deepa, we definitely didn't expect that of him. Now, I do want to point out, Deepa was messed up more than I thought. They said they had to regenerate or repair his brain, something like that. And it was just absolutely sad just the way that Jigen actually handled him. Now, Jigen did actually say that Deepa made him laugh, so it did kind of seem that Jigen actually did like Deepa. But I'm not going to lie to you guys, Jigen seemed absolutely cold-blooded. Like, you had the opportunity to rehabilitate Deepa. You had the opportunity to actually get another person in the Kata organization that was worthy of being in the Kata organization. But Jigen didn't care at all. He just pressed a button and that was it for Deepa. And one of the scenes that I was super excited for is the scene where Boruto and Naruto fought against each other when Naruto was actually using the prosthetic arm. Now, one of the things that was pretty much made extremely prevalent in this scene is the fact that Boruto has a brand new chakra nature, which is Boruto style. Now, in the Boruto manga, we've seen this and we've seen this happen before, but we didn't necessarily expect it, or I personally didn't necessarily expect it in the Boruto anime, just because of the sheer fact that Boruto hasn't necessarily used the water style before. Now, this right here was something totally brand new and caught everybody off guard, including me, as I said. But I think it was definitely a well received surprise from a lot of the Boruto fans out there. But sadly, Boruto's new water style jutsu had no effect on Naruto, because Naruto of course had the prosthetic arm. Multiple times Boruto tried to hit Naruto with the Rasengan and did absolutely nothing to Naruto, just because of the sheer fact that Naruto was absorbing the jutsus. Now, I do want to point out, it doesn't necessarily look exactly similar to what we did see with a lot of the other absorbing techniques, specifically the Rinnegan. We've seen the Rinnegan absorb Rasengans before. This prosthetic arm seems like it absorbed the Rasengan even faster. Now, I do want to point out, I do want to put a huge caveat on this. It's probably because of the sheer fact that Boruto's Rasengan doesn't necessarily have the density of chakra that Naruto's Rasengan actually does have. And that right there would definitely be completely fine. I definitely understand that. But another thing that could definitely be possible is the fact that they want to make Boruto, or they want to make the audience seem like they didn't necessarily know exactly what was going on. Of course, a lot of us as viewers of the Boruto manga, we automatically understood exactly what was the situation with Naruto's arm. But for the anime only viewers, they probably didn't necessarily know exactly what was going on. And the Boruto Rise wanted to keep that level of anonymity to kind of surprise the viewers. For example, when Deepa actually did fight against the ninjas against the Hidden Cloud Village, we didn't necessarily know that he had a body built of steel, or he was basically able to turn his body into carbon bonds, until he actually did fight against Team 7, and then he did actually show us exactly what he was doing. Now, one of the things that I really wanted to see in this fight was Boruto use the compression Rasengan. Of course, you understand that Boruto has a litany of different Rasengans, and of course the strongest one being the compression Rasengan. We understand that it's definitely dangerous for Boruto to actually use the compression Rasengan, but of course there is definitely a possibility that Boruto now learns how to actually throw the compression Rasengan. Boruto himself did actually kind of mention this a little bit, but a lot of the grandfather fans of the Naruto series also remember that time when Naruto himself had a very dangerous Rasengan, and then he himself learned how to throw that Rasengan in itself, which was of course the Rasen Shuriken. I definitely expect Boruto to do that in this particular situation with the compression Rasengan, but I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I was a little bit upset that Boruto didn't necessarily hit Naruto with that compression Rasengan. I think that would have 100% caught Naruto off guard, and Naruto would have kind of been a little bit hurt, and potentially Boruto could have even won with that Rasengan. But now, one of the things that I do want to make absolutely clear, in an actual fight, I don't necessarily think that Boruto could even touch Naruto, but just like in this fight right here where Naruto was actually taking it easy on Boruto, and if Naruto was kind of trying to gauge how strong Boruto's Rasengan was, for example, when he did actually test Boruto's Rasengan, when they both kind of clashed with Rasengans, if Boruto himself actually turned that Rasengan into a compression Rasengan, I could have definitely seen Boruto winning that bout, just because of the sheer fact that the compression Rasengan is a lot better and a lot more powerful than a regular Rasengan. Towards the end of the episode, Sasuke pulls up, which is kind of interesting. Of course, we do understand that Sasuke is going to be a very heavy influence in, of course, the Kata organization, the research of the Kata organization. One thing that I definitely do want to point out is that in the Boruto manga, we don't really see Sasuke a whole bunch. After this specific chapter right here, Sasuke kind of goes ghost. Now, I 100% think in the Boruto anime, he's going to be extremely prevalent. Now, I'm not saying that he's going to be in every single episode or something like that, but I 100% expect to see exactly what Sasuke is actually researching, and because of that, I do expect for Sasuke to actually have a bigger role in the anime. But I do want you guys thinking about this episode in the comment section below. I personally liked it. There was a lot of information, there were some funny scenes, and of course there was a lot of action as well. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. It's me, your boy Barbie, and we out.
It's a knife.